Well, good morning, everyone. I'm experimenting with some technology. I've got my little webcam set up, as you can see. You can see the stuff in the background there. I still don't have my equipment back yet from the Bend, Oregon seminar, but that should be coming back to me very shortly. I just wanted to take a moment to give a report on that seminar in Bend, Oregon. First of all, I just have to give a lot of props to James and Trish Scheller, who organized that event, sent out the invitations, to Harold Eberly, myself, Gary Parrish, and Terry Cashin. They did a fantastic job of organizing that event. And on Saturday night, we had a crowd that was so big they had to open up a petition. So it was just really, really thrilling. I got to meet an awful lot of brand new preterists. I got to meet an awful lot of folks who are partial preterists. We had some great interaction. And as for the Q&A session, this was not a technical debate, all right? And it was more of an open panel discussion. Harold and I, and then Terry and Gary as well, we engaged in Q&A sessions, in which we had open mic from the audience asking the questions that were relevant to them, the things that they wanted the answers for, and it was just really a fantastic environment. There was no anger, there was no bitterness, there was no resentment expressed that I remember. Pardon me. It was just a really, really wonderful time of fellowship, and we covered issues. Everything from the death of the garden, to the question of Israel being saved, to the question of the redemption of creation, to the Abrahamic covenant. We just ran a gamut. Naturally, we talked about the identity of Babel in Revelation. Harold and I agree, by the way, on the early dating of the book of Revelation. We agree that at least, from his perspective, Revelation chapters 1 through 11 applied to the fall of Jerusalem in AD 70. Where we began to disagree was his view, which is known as the historicist view, sometimes called the Reformed view, is that beginning in chapter 12 of Revelation, it begins to talk about the destruction of Rome. Now, I used to hold that position. I just simply no longer believe that that's a tenable position. I do not believe that the text will support that. I do not believe that the comparison with the rest of the New Testament message, especially the teaching of Jesus in the Gospels, will support that. But we got to discuss all of these things. And needless to say, all of these issues are directly relevant to the entire story of eschatology. I think one of the times during the debate, because I saw the facial expressions on an awful lot of people, is when one individual asked the question to Harold, do you look forward to a physical kingdom? Now, a little bit of background here. Harold in his presentation, I in my independent presentation, had pointed out that we both believe that the kingdom has been established, that it is a spiritual kingdom, that according to Daniel chapter 2, verse 44, it is a kingdom not made with hands. Therefore, it's a spiritual kingdom. Well, in spite of that, and in spite of the fact that Harold clearly rejects the dispensational view of the kingdom, he does not believe in a restored Israel to the physical land. He does not believe in a physical restoration of the physical temple, the restoration of the physical priesthood, the restoration of physical sacrifices. And yet, nonetheless, in response to the question, are you looking for the establishment of the physical kingdom? He just said, yes. Now, again, I saw on the faces of a lot of people who were there quite a bit of amazement. On the one hand, how can you affirm that you're waiting for a physical kingdom and yet disavow the very nature of the physical kingdom that was set forth in the Old Covenant? That seems to be quite a disconnect. So anyway, like I said, it was a really fantastic time, and for those of you, and there are several of you, who have inquired about the DVDs and the MP3s and when those will be available, I am right now waiting on my master copies of the DVDs and MP3s, and the moment I get them in, I will have the number of DVDs reduced in number so that it take fewer and fewer discs. And the moment I get those back, I will begin duplicating those. I'll be announcing their availability here on Facebook and YouTube. I will be making an announcement on all of my websites. So I know that those of you who have been looking forward to these DVDs and MP3s will be eagerly anticipating this. Look, there was a ton of really, really great information in this panel discussion. It's information that you really, really want to have in your library. Once again, it was a great, friendly discussion. Harold Eberly is an enthusiastic, articulate advocate of the partial preterist view. He's a very likable guy. I just really enjoyed interacting with him. So again, I think you're going to really enjoy this. So be looking for the announcement coming very soon, hopefully, of the availability of the DVDs and the MP3s of the Bend, Oregon, Eberly Preston discussions.